The wrestler that would come to define an era, a period in industry lore, was once dismissed as generic, a flavorless nothing in black trunks and boots. His in-ring skill was never questioned, nor was his mere admittance into the wrestling realm. But Stone Cold Steve Austin was not destined to just be a face among the crowd. Instead of receding into the background as a bit player, Austin amplified the entire pro wrestling world at maximum volume, revitalizing the medium in a way few could ever have predicted. Almost universally, Austin's face makes the subject of Mount Rushmores that fans and critics assemble. The mere utterance of his name transports us all to a moment in time when being good was great, but being bad was best. The promise of unrestrained mayhem and danger on Monday nights held a lure for fans worldwide, as no wrestler has ever felt more authentic, defying authority than Stone Cold. We here at Cultaholic never need a reason to delve into the Book of Austin, to flip through the pages of a brilliant wrestling career that could never possibly be duplicated, and the bottom line on Steve Austin is that while few could ever equal his greatness, nobody has ever surpassed it. I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and here are 10 things you didn't know about Steve Austin. Join us! Number 10, Deer in the Headlights. At the age of 24 in 1989, Steve Austin wrestled his first ever match under his given name of Steve Williams. While Austin would prove to be an absolute natural to the point where he was holding his own with gifted veterans after just 2 or 3 years in the business, his first match didn't indicate much in the way of his future success. Austin's first match took place in Dallas, Texas at the famed Sportatorium, against a wrestler by the name of Frogman LeBlanc. Austin by this point had a fundamental understanding of the basics, but knew very little about how to structure a match. Through the course of the bout, which Austin called both brutal and horrible, Austin remembers arm-dragging LeBlanc upwards of 8 different times. It was so bad that the referee, a veteran wrestler named Tony Falk, had to verbally guide him through the sequences, calling some of the spots to get Austin to the end of the match, since he appeared to be lost. For the experience, Austin claimed he was paid just $40, a far cry from where he would be in just a few short years. Number 9, not wasting time. After navigating his early struggles, Austin would prove valuable as a star villain in the Dallas and Memphis regions, and it didn't take long for somebody in a major promotion to notice this blonde-haired blue chipper. Austin began his 4-year stay with WCW in May of 1991, and his first foray with a worthwhile championship would come in short order. Just 3 weeks after his WCW debut, Austin would defeat Bobby Eaton to become the company's television champion. Eaton had only just defeated Arn Anderson for the title at Super Brawl, which ran a mere 6 days after Austin's first match in the company. And all of a sudden, the belt was being transitioned to Stunning Steve. Austin won the belt on June 3rd, 1991, and to show the faith that the WCW bookers had in him, he'd go on to hold the belt for 329 days, just 5 weeks short of a year, before dropping it to Barry Windham. In less than 3 years as a professional wrestler, Austin was given a title run of such length by a national promotion, and very few people, if anyone, would have said he wasn't worthy. Number 8, another brush with greatness. One of the all-time greatest short-lived tag teams was the Hollywood Blondes, Stunning Steve Austin and Flying Brian Pillman. The two natural heels oozed obnoxious charisma and complemented each other's wrestling mastery, combining the best elements of the Midnight Express and the Andersons into one impressively glitzy package. Though the team lasted less than 1 year, the Blondes are still cited today as one of the best duos in wrestling's long and storied history. While one can't imagine Austin and Pillman not making magic together, the truth is that Austin wasn't too happy about the partnership at first. Austin remembers in early 1993 being in line for a major singles push, with the unanimously respected Harley Race as his manager. He was quite excited about his prospects as a solo act before finding out from Pillman himself that they were all of a sudden a tag team. Dusty Rhodes told Austin quite simply that they'd changed their minds on Austin's usage, but promised him that the team had bright times ahead. Considering how memorable the Blondes are to this day, the American dream told no lie. Number 7, Stone Cold Concerns. You've probably heard the story by now about how WWE Creative came up with some truly dumb ideas for Austin's name once he pitched a new character idea. Austin had watched a documentary on a frightening contract killer named Richard the Iceman Kuklinski, and thought a character with that sort of cold-bloodedness was the avenue he needed to go down. He suggested the character only for WWE's creative services to suggest horrible names like Chili McFreeze, Ice Dagger, and Fang McFrost. How does McFrost 316 sound to you? Austin's then-wife Jeannie blurted out the word Stone Cold in regards to the tea that Austin was drinking. thinking. And then she put the words together, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin liked it and thought it sounded great, but remembers worrying that it was too long of a name, that 4 words may have been excessive. But he went with it, relating it to Gerald Briscoe, who got the necessary approval for Austin to use the name. So thank you to Jeannie Clark for brewing tea on that fateful night. You changed professional wrestling forever. Number 6, leaving him stunned. Austin's early finishing moves like the stun gun and the $1 Million Dream were fine, but they lacked the oomph of the Stone Cold Stunner, one of the simplest yet coolest maneuvers in the history of wrestling. Austin had struck gold from the time he began using the stunner in May of '96, and anyone who was in the business for the next 6 years would feel the wrath of Austin through that move. The man who taught it to Austin was somebody that Stone Cold used to love to hate as a fan growing up in the Dallas area, Michael P.S. Hayes. Hayes, with his imaginative mind, was by now part of WWE's inner circle. He showed Austin the Ace Crusher that was the weapon of choice for Johnny Ace, aka John Laurinaitis, and suggested a sit-down version of the move as opposed to laying out like Ace or even Diamond Dallas Page. Austin practiced the move a few times on some local enhancement talent at a TV taping, and debuted it later that night when he defeated Savio Vega in a King of the Ring tournament match. Number 5, who'da thunk it? The list of wrestlers who've fallen before Austin is mighty impressive. Shawn Michaels, The Rock, The Undertaker, Mick Foley, Ric Flair, Chris Jericho, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Ricky Steamboat, Owen Hart, and countless others have been the professional victims of the Texas rattlesnake. As WWE's top star for a several-year period, Austin was fed a hearty diet of icon, and his wrestling legacy takes a backseat to nobody's. That's why it feels so strange to realize who exactly was the last wrestler Austin ever defeated in a match. The answer to that little bit of trivia isn't even a wrestler, but rather an executive, Eric Bischoff. When Austin returned to WWE in early 2003 following his June 2002 walkout, Austin only wrestled 3 more matches. His WrestleMania finale against The Rock, and 2 matches with Bischoff. One at the No Way Out pay-per-view, and one at Raw in St. Louis 2 weeks before Mania. If you were to tell Steve Austin that the last win of his career would come against the man who fired him from WCW in 1995, what would he have said? Number 4, TV star. Austin was the man on top of the WWE mountain when Raw took control of the ratings war with WCW Monday Nitro. His segments were must-see, whether he was destroying somebody's vehicle, doling out a stunner or 2, or even just simply taking part in a match. Austin was a ratings magnet in his time as a WWE kingpin, and even in retirement, the Raw 25th anniversary show did insane numbers, thanks almost solely to Austin abusing the McMahons in the opening bit. Austin can also take credit for being part of the highest rated segment in Raw history. While some sources erroneously claim that The Rock's This Is Your Life skit was Raw's zenith, in truth, Austin's victory over WWE champion The Undertaker on the June 28, 1999 show has never been topped. The match did a 9.5 TV rating, accounting for just under 11 million viewers. To put that into perspective, today's episode of Raw averaged about 2.7 million viewers a show. When Austin was gunning for the belt, his constituents held his back, even at the 11th hour. Number 3, a triple threat. When Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Shawn Michaels in the main event of WrestleMania 14, it was the culmination of an 8-year journey, the flag in the turf moment that heralded Austin's arrival at pro wrestling's pinnacle. It also made him the 5th man in WWE history to capture the classic triple crown of the WWE World, Intercontinental, and Tag Team belts, joining Pedro Morales, Bret Hart, Diesel, and Shawn Michaels. To make matters more impressive, by virtue of his win over Kane the night after the 1998 King of the Ring, Austin became the first man to capture the Triple Crown twice after Hart and Michaels. The fact that Austin was booked to win all 3 necessary belts twice each in a matter of 13 months, the first belt the tag team was on May 26, 1997, only further demonstrates how much value was seen in Austin by a WWE that needed a hero. Number 2, a galaxy of stars. Austin's performances inside the ring oftentimes get overshadowed by the mayhem he created as the Grand Marshal of the Attitude Era. But make no mistake, Austin was a ringmaster in a positive sense. His timing, psychology, technique, and instincts were flawless, and an Austin 20 years younger would have been able to hang with any of your favorite indie darlings. Dave Meltzer can attest to Austin's greatness as a gifted worker, rating many of Austin's top matches quite highly. In fact, using Meltzer's subjective ratings, Austin is the only man to have had a 5-star match in both WWE and WCW. The WWE half of the equation was his transcendent submission match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13, the bloodbath that launched Stone Cold into the stratosphere for good. On the WCW side, Austin shares the distinction with 9 other wrestlers, plus Medusa and Paul Heyman, as the War Games match from WrestleWar 1992 may have been the best battle of its type. But hey, you don't need Dave Meltzer's permission to declare an Austin match perfect. And number 1, a golden sequel. 3 WrestleManias have concluded with Stone Cold capturing the WWE Championship, accounting for 3 of his 5 overall WrestleMania victories. The first 2 matches, victories over Shawn Michaels and The Rock, were respectively Austin's first visit to Wrestling Everest and his reaffirmation as a top guy at the end of a big money mania. It's through these 2 victories that Austin made a unique bit of history. With his win over The Rock at WrestleMania 15, Stone Cold became the first man to challenge for and win World Championships at consecutive WrestleManias. Not even Hogan, who won the belt at Manias 5, 7, and 9, can make that claim. Since then, the feat has only happened twice. The Undertaker won the World Heavyweight belt at WrestleManias 23 and 24, while John Cena won 2 different world titles at 25 and 26. But the bottom line is that Austin was always a trendsetter, one that others have had a difficult time following, even 15 years after his last match. And that's our list. I've been Sam from Cultaholic.com. You can follow me on Twitter here. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And never ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.